So, most of us, when we think about history, we picture a straight line, right? But what if that's completely wrong? What if history isn't a line at all, but a spiral, one that's constantly repeating a hidden pattern over and over? Today, we're going to unlock a framework that might just change how you see everything.
I mean, this is the standard view, isn't it? You've got the past back here, the future up there, and we're just moving along from point A to point B. It's simple. It's logical. One event just follows the next. But what if that's not the whole story?
What if it's more like this? A spiral. Yeah, it's still moving forward, time is progressing, but it's also constantly circling back on itself, repeating the same basic phases, just at a higher, more complex level each time. The idea here is that humanity itself is maturing, growing up through these repeating cycles.
So, what's driving this spiral? What's the engine? Well, it turns out it's a repeating sequence of three basic roles, three archetypes that pop up and shape every single era. Let's crack the code behind the spiral.
You know, the easiest way to get this is just to think about a human life. We start as children, we grow into adults, and then we become elders. Each of those stages has a totally different way of seeing and interacting with the world, right? Well, this theory says history, on a grand scale, does the exact same thing. And here are the three roles that map onto that life cycle. First, you've got the priest, who's like the child. The main job here is to just learn the rules, to obey, to maintain the order you're given. Then comes the king, who's like the adult. Their job is to take charge, to rule, to act in the world. And finally, you have the prophet, the elder. They've moved beyond just acting. Now, their role is to envision a new world and speak it into existence. And check this out. Look at how their method of changing the world evolves. The priest works through simple obedience. The king uses forceful action, their hand, to get things done. But the prophet? The prophet operates on a whole other level. They change reality with nothing but words and a vision. It's this incredible progression from just following the rules to literally creating something new.
Okay, so we've got the three roles: priest, king, prophet. Now for the really cool part. Let's zoom way out and see how this pattern plays out across the entire sweep of biblical history. This is where it gets absolutely fascinating.
Turns out, this pattern organizes history into three massive ages, and each one is dominated by one of those core roles we just talked about.
First up is the age of the father. You can think of this as humanity's childhood. The whole focus is super foundational, just learning to hear God's word and obey it. This is Adam, Noah, the patriarchs building altars. The key task is just to establish worship and maintain the order they've been given. It is, through and through, a priestly age.
Then, we level up. We enter the age of the Son. This is humanity's adulthood. Now, it's not just about obeying commands anymore. It's about taking the law and actually building a society, a kingdom. This is the era of Mount Sinai, of King David. It's all about active governance and kingly rule. And that brings us to the third age, the age of the Spirit. Humanity has reached full maturity now. The focus explodes from just one nation to the entire world. The task is no longer about ruling by force, but about being a witness to all nations, to proclaim a whole new reality into being. This is the prophetic age, the time of the elder.
Okay, but here's the kicker. This priest-king-prophet pattern doesn't just work on this massive 1,000-year scale. It acts like a fractal. It repeats itself over and over again in smaller stories all throughout the narrative.
Seriously, once you get this lens, you start seeing this pattern everywhere. In the lives of individual people, in how leaders rise and fall, and even, this is wild, in the way people sin. Let me show you what I mean.
This is so cool. Even Israel's rebellion follows the pattern perfectly. In their childhood phase from Moses to David, what are the big sins? They're priestly sins, right? Idolatry, failing at simple obedience. Then, during their adulthood as a kingdom, the sins become kingly: oppression, injustice, failing to rule well. And finally, after the exile, in their elder phase, the sins are prophetic, compromising their mission to the world. It fits like a glove.
We see it in individual lives, too. I mean, think about Abraham. What's his story all about? Fatherhood and worship. The guy is constantly building altars, setting up a right relationship with God. He is the ultimate priest figure. But then you get to his grandson Jacob, and the whole vibe shifts. His story isn't about altars, it's about wrestling. He's wrestling with his brother, his father-in-law, even with God. His focus is on society, relationships, and justice. That is the kingly role in action. And then, boom,
With Joseph, the story goes global. It's not about family drama anymore. It's about being a faithful witness in a foreign empire, Egypt, and using his wisdom to heal and restore. This is the prophetic role, setting the stage for a mission to the entire world.
Which brings us to the big finale, the ultimate payoff for understanding this whole framework. We've built this entire spiral of history for one main reason, to figure out exactly where the book of Daniel fits in and why it matters so much.
So after all that, after the roles, the ages, the cycles within cycles, we can finally ask the big question. Where in the world does the book of Daniel fit into this grand, spiraling story?
And the answer is perfectly. Daniel is dropped right at the dawn of that third prophetic age. And this framework shows us his core struggle wasn't priestly or kingly. It was 100% prophetic. How do you live as a faithful witness inside a massive global empire? The temptation isn't really idolatry, it's assimilation, just blending in and losing what makes you unique. This reframes the entire book. It's not just a collection of cool miracle stories, it's a guidebook for prophetic witness. It's basically the Joseph story scaled up for an age of empires.
And just when you think the pattern is done, it makes one final, amazing turn right inside the book of Daniel itself. The narrative cycles through these roles: Daniel as the wise prophet, his friends as stubborn priests who refuse to bow, and even a pagan king learning how to be a just king. The pattern is just everywhere. So in the end, this spiral isn't just some neat historical theory. It's like an interpretive key. It's a brand new lens for making sense of these ancient stories. Which leaves us with a question for you. Now that you have this key, what other stories, or maybe even patterns in our own world, could it help you unlock?